Cricket is my passion and I cannot avoid it. With 2 losses in 2 games, India have their work cut out. They play Afghanistan today in a must-win game in Abu Dhabi. To discuss about it, how India can go about in this third game, we have the great Shane Watson. Welcome to the show, Shane.
Thanks for having me again, Anis. It's a pleasure to be here.
Same here, Watto. We've been talking about the past 2 performances that India were a bit timid, a bit unlucky. Today is the third game. They have no choice but to win the game.
Absolutely, it is do or die for India now, especially with these next few games that India have got. Afghanistan, they have been playing very nicely. They are a very dangerous team with the firepower of their top order, with Zazai, Shazad, and also
Majibullah.
Yeah, that's it. Majibullah, exactly. He is an incredible young talent as well. So there's some firepower at the top, and then also the spin, and the spin's going to be used in the power play. So it's going to be, for me, the most important thing for India tonight is the openers and the top three, how India's top three are going to go, because with the openers in particular, they have not got off to a good start at all. And India, when they've done really well in the past, which is a lot, their openers in particular have done very, very well. It's an amazing statistic that Rohit Sharma, when he gets 50 plus runs, and he's done that over the last few years, every time he gets 50 plus runs, India win every time, whether they're batting first or second. So, and KL Rahul has been in amazing touch up until T20 internationals this year. He hasn't scored many runs, but we saw him during the IPL. He's incredible, and he's in amazing touch. Even the shot that he got out to, it just didn't go far enough. But he is hitting the ball very well. So there is a big innings around the corner for KL Rahul as well. So for me, the openers in particular for India, if they're able to get off to a good start, whether they bat first or second, it seems like the wicket in Abu Dhabi is not as difficult to bat on to start with. And I asked a couple of the English guys actually before the last match that they played against Sri Lanka, is what's going on with that wicket in Dubai? Because it definitely does seem like batting first is really difficult. And they did talk about there's a little bit of moisture in the surface, so the ball is a bit tennis bally bounce. It's a bit it's just a little bit too pace, so it's hard to line up, which we can see, and we saw in the last game, India against New Zealand. Yes, they're a little bit timid, but there's a reason also why batsmen haven't been able to execute and take the game on in that first innings. And that was my guess, because these players are incredible. So Abu Dhabi, normally it's a bit better to bat on to start with. So whether India bat first or second, I don't think it'll have much of an impact compared to what it has in Dubai. So for me, top order, and then India's bowling, their power play, they need to be able to take wickets. They've hardly taken any wickets at all in their power play. And it makes it really difficult, especially when their spinners come on through the middle, Chakravarthy and Jadeja. If they're bowling against set batsmen, they just don't have as much impact. Whereas if they're bowling against batsmen who are just fresh to the crease, that's when they can have the most impact through the middle. So Shami, we've got Shardul, who came in for the last game, and also Bumrah. Chakravarty's been bowling one or two in the power play as well. But the power play is so important that India get that right with the ball to make early inroads.
All right. Now, let me come to the batting first, Shane. Like you said that India bat first or bat second. Now, India is in a dilemma, rather catch-22 situation. Suppose because of their net run rate, because it is minus 0.1609. So do they worry about the net run rate or the first priority? Obviously, in case if they are put in to, suppose if they bat first, just ensure that they put up a decent total and then first think about winning the game and forget the net run rate?
Yes, India have to most importantly win the game, and they play well. If they play well, they won't let Afghanistan into the game if they play really well. So the most important thing is winning the game. But once they get to a stage, and they'll have to make the call, once they get to a stage, even if they're batting first, if they get to a stage where they feel like they're getting, they're safe and they're getting towards a total they're looking for, they're going to have to throw all their guns at being able to get as big a total as possible. So, and obviously if India bats second, that's when you're trying to chase net run rate. It's the ideal scenario, because you see exactly what you need, and then you can go again, make sure you're safe, that you win the game. But then once you get to that point, and there is a tipping point there, then you go, okay, we've got to go and take this game on. So from my perspective, that's going to mean it's going to be, no matter what the situation of the game, it's going to be an awesome game to watch, because there's something big. India's really relying on them to be able to dominate this game. So it's going to get to a point where there's going to be a lot of action. So
you know why I asked this question about the net run rate, Watto? Because India plays the last game, which is against Namibia. Before that, a day before, New Zealand play against Afghanistan. So if India catches with the net run rate in today's game, whereas in the next game against Scotland, there will be a little bit of pressure on New Zealand when they go on to the last match against Afghanistan. Do you think so?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And that's why this game tonight against Afghanistan is so important, for India to be able to get the whole 40 overs right, for them to be able to get put a perfect game together of T20 cricket. And it does start with India's batting, their top order. They need to dominate, when, as we have seen with England in particular, and also Pakistan, who have been the most dominant teams, their openers in particular have scored the bulk of their runs. So it's very important for India to get as close as they can to qualifying for these semi-finals. Their openers in particular need to dominate. They can't be reliant on Virat Kohli all the time, especially if he comes in and he's a bit under pressure. You see that he'll be a little bit less risk averse. He'll take his time a bit more. He won't take on the game as much. But if they get off to a great start and Virat comes in, then he'll be totally free to be able to really take the game on. So you're absolutely right. If India are able to sort of just push New Zealand a bit, they'll have in the back of their mind that they're going to have to push hard as well. So it'll mean that there'll be a bit more pressure on New Zealand, which is what India are going to want to hopefully try and qualify.
All right. So whom do you want to see them open with, Rahul and Rohit, or you want Ishan Kishan to open with Rohit and put Rahul behind at 4?
I can see one part of why Ishan Kishan opened. I can see the logic behind it with the left armer, with Trent Bolt, who is coming in to bowl to him. Rohit Sharma hasn't got as good a record against the ball swinging in, even though he's faced Trent Bolt a crazy amount in the nets. He would have, so it had a good game plan to negate that. But for India to win, Rohit Sharma has to score runs, and the best place for him to bat is to open. It means, yes, Afghanistan are going to bowl spin at the start, Mujib, but Rohit's got a good record against Mujib. Not so much as against Rashid Khan, but Mujib he does. So that for me, it's an important spot for Rohit to be able to bat. So I would go with Rohit and KL Rahul. They are the two guys who need to dominate for India to be able to do really well. It was a bit of it. I can see the logic again with Ishan Kishan, but it is a change. And it's a role change, which in a T20 World Cup in particular, changing roles, that's challenging. That's challenging for Ishan Kishan to come in, and a lot expected of him because he's got big shoes to fill. And then it's a role change for Rohit. And Rohit's been so dominant at the top of the order. That's where he's mainly been batting. So that was, in that regard, is a bit of a surprise. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Rohit goes straight back up to the top of the order, because they need their top order firing.
All right. Now, one more player I want to ask about. We've seen Surya Kumar Yadav, what he can do with the bat. And suppose if he's fit, do you get him in and push Rishab Pant out, who looked a bit out of sorts, or you put Ishan Kishan out?
I know, that's a tough one. And it sounded like at the toss that Surya Kumar Yadav had a back spasms or something like that. And that was a reason why he missed out. And that's the reason why Ishan Kishan came in and opened. So if Surya Kumar is fit, it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see if it actually was an injury or whether it was a tactical inclusion. So yes, I'll be very interested to see. I'm not sure what will
Who would you play? Because I like him using his feet.
I think Surya Kumar is a beautiful player of spin bowling, especially in those middle overs. He does play Rashid Khan nicely. He can hit him at all different parts. And he has been that glue in that middle period, only for a few games, but he's a quality player. So Ishan Kishan obviously is a world-class batsman when he's firing, but he's more inconsistent. whereas Surya Kumar is more consistent. He's great against pace and spin. So, yeah, that inclusion for me was really nice in those first couple of games. It didn't work out for him, but yeah, it's just when teams start to chop and change, even one really crucial spot, and then someone changes in the batting order, that's when I start to get a little bit worried.
So you prefer that if Surya comes, he comes in for Kishan and let Pant do the job which he's been doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Rishab Pant is a world-class batsman, and he does take the game away. He hasn't found his feet exactly, but again, India have been batting first. He's come in under a lot of pressure. He hasn't trusted the bounce to the wicket, so he's been a bit exposed. As most batsmen who've had to bat first in Dubai, they've been exposed, and no one's really been able to find their feet. So, for me, yeah, absolutely, I'd have Rishab Pant. He's a very powerful hitter. He's a left-hander as well to break it up, but also his keeping and just his energy around the group. I think it'd be too big a risk to drop him. It'd send a few shockwaves through the team, too big a shockwaves through the team if they drop Rishab.
All right, and in the bowling, do you see Ashwin coming in just to tackle Jazai and Najibullah by any chance?
They could definitely go with that option for sure. I just think Chakravarthy, he's been doing nicely. He's been thrown really into the deep end because both times recently he's had to bowl. He's bowled at least a couple overs in the power play because India have had to try and get wickets. So every time he's come on to bowl, it's very different to coming in and bowling a wicket-taking ball here and there, and then bowling his other balls to be able to try and keep things at bay. Whereas now, recently, every time he's come on, he's had to take wickets. So I think it'd be pretty harsh to drop him for Ashwin, considering that the opportunities that he's got has just been wholly and solely out and out wicket taking. Like Bumrah, when he's come on, Bumrah has just been there. As you can see, he's mainly bowled Yorkers all the time just to be able to bowl wicket taking balls because India have needed wickets. So from that perspective, I'd love to see Chakravarthy still get an opportunity. Yes, Ashwin matches up nicely to Zazai in particular with the left-handers, but yeah, I do like Chakravarthy.
Maybe we can
bowler.
Probably ask Shami to go out and take Ashwin, or you want to stick to 3 fast bowlers, even though Pandya is still bowling?
Yeah, 3 fast bowlers. Yeah, 3 fast bowlers is still important, I think, especially to be able to close out the death overs and that as well. I think it's really important to have 3 quicks.
All right. Shane, your verdict, India winning by 50 runs or winning with 5 overs to spare? Let's get it right this time.
Absolutely. This is a great opportunity for India to be able to put a perfect game of T20 cricket together. They've got an incredible team, and they've lost the toss, and that's just affected how things have sort of panned out. So whether India win the toss or lose the toss, it's different conditions in Abu Dhabi. So yes, I'm very confident India will have a great day out.
All right. So nothing to lose and everything to gain. Big match coming up tonight against Afghanistan. Watto feels India will win today and will stick to Chakravarthy, as well as might get Surya Kumar Yadav, and also will keep Pant. We'll have to wait and watch what the think tank decides. We'll catch up with Watto tomorrow after the match. Thank you so much. You have a great day, Watto.
You too, Anis. Great to chat, mate.
Bye-bye.